Good evening, everyone. This is Tom O'Mara with the MBT from St. Louis, Missouri. Tonight we're going to be streaming the Midwest Scratch Bowlers series from Jackson, Michigan, Jack 60. And doing the commentary tonight is Josh Solomon. Josh, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Josh, the show is yours. Go ahead. I see Brian next to you there. I don't know if he's got a headset on or not, but I'll let you guys go ahead and do what you
No,
do.
Brian's going to do the frame by frame, and I'm going to do the commentary with Cameron.
Oh, nice.
So he's going to get geared up. He actually bowled tonight, apparently not well enough to make the top four, so he gets to sit in the booth with me, which I think is kind of a privilege considering I've been on multiple PBA telecasts and done a few things with extra frame, flow bowling, obviously Bowl TV this past week with the 50 and 60.
All
Sorry,
right, Josh.
I got kind of a lag in my headphones, Tom. So
I do as
unfortunately,
well.
I can kind of hear myself talking outside of the headphones, which is causing me to
Yeah,
feel a little weird about talking normal.
we had it.
But,
We had this working
anyway.
fine before, and then I guess I'm not exactly sure where the problem's coming from, but probably the best thing to do is just turn the volume down on the headphones a little bit, and then you guys can talk amongst yourselves and hear what's going on. Probably the best way to deal with it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a little better. So we got one shot remaining. We got a pretty decent top four. Two of these guys I know pretty well. Justin Knowles, who's a stone cold killer, the GOAT as we refer to him, and Marcus McLean of Indiana Tech fame and USBC doubles championship a few years ago. So going to be a pretty good match. These guys all look to be throwing it pretty good. For everybody at home, we bowled on MSBS 37, which when I looked at the pattern putting it in the machine today, it looked like a 32-foot pattern with a bunch of carry down,
37.
but it's 37 because of the brush drop being at 37 and the reverse starting at 20.
Yeah.
It makes it play a little shorter.
All right.
So that's why you guys saw the hook stop motion with the quick stuff and the continuation out of the big stuff.
If I'm being honest, I didn't see any of that. I saw urethane hook at my toes, and then after that, it was like, all right, ball down, doesn't hook. Ball down, doesn't hook. Ball down again, and we got a chance.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Like the urethane felt like it was hooking at your toes because
Yeah.
the end of the pattern was so close to you.
Yes.
By that brush drop being way down there, all that's doing is buffing the oil from the forward back at you, and then when the oil starts at 20, that's where you feel the end of the pattern at.
Gotcha.
So the reason you liked the quicker stuff when you got left is because it would bleed off all that energy at the end of the pattern. So it was kind of hook stop.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is what Marcus had success for the first couple games, throwing a Paragon hybrid. Looked really good. Now, of course, Justin Knowles is left-handed. He is two-handed. What do you think he's throwing? Purple Hammer.
I actually bowled with Justin, and I can't say anything about the lefties today. Both Justin and Caleb Salyer were on my pair, and both of them were throwing purple hammers the whole time.
Yeah. This house is known for lefties and Purple Hammers scoring well. Justin led our Masters by about 1,000,000, and Derek Norman of MSBS fame also led the Alro tournament and won by 1,000,000. It was crazy. I think he shot two 300s and 850 something for a 3-game block in match play. It was stupid to watch his ball motion. It was amazing. Marcus with a nice spare. Looks like Marcus balled down to an ocean vibe, trying to still get that hook stop motion but get it clean through the fronts. Basically, what it looks like the right's trying to do is just get the ball to respond to friction and bleed off all that energy. So that's why the quick balls look good right now. versus something super big with a lot of surface that wants to roll at your toe. There's not enough length in the front to get the ball to the end of the pattern, so it can bleed off the energy. It's bleeding off the energy too quick. So it either has not enough or too much. Justin Knowles with a nice double to start.
Which Marcus is up on the left lane for those of you that don't know who people are. The guy up on the right lane right now is Adam D, who is actually a pretty big MSBS guy on the west side of the state, meaning. So he's from, I believe, Grand Rapids area, but he's a very, very good bowler. Looks like you got a little left on that one, but
Yeah, he's trying to play him a little more direct than everybody else, using speed versus turn. A little rev rate manipulation of the ball. He's kind of trap it.
yeah.
Using the same kind of theory that we're talking about, a shiny ball wants to respond quicker to friction down lane,
Yeah.
bleed off all that energy.
Which Marcus doesn't have the highest rev rate in the world, but he's almost like a Norm Duke, Chris Barnes area where he's better at shot making rather than overpowering the lane.
Correct.
Obviously, I'm not putting him in the same category as like a Norm Duke, because in my opinion, he's one of the greatest that have ever played the game. But
So I've told this story on Bowl TV and other avenues, but a year ago, Norm bowled the PBA 50, and he was bowling Brad Angelo in the final match. And I was standing back in the corner by where the restrooms are, and Norm was up in the 10th to strike to lock out Brad. He needed a mark. And in his third step, I sneezed. And he stopped, walked off the approach, reset, almost goes through the face, crumbles the big four, and leaves a 4-pin. And makes his spare, comes back. So later on that night, we're telling the story in the bar, and Norm's like, yeah, who was that guy that sneezed? Does anybody know? And I'm standing on the other side of the bar, and I looked at Norm, and I was like, sorry, buddy, that was me. I thought he was going to come unglued, but he didn't. It was a pretty good story. So that was actually Norm's last title before retirement. He decided to retire after the team tournament in Bopo, and he won his last title here at Jack 60. So, story I'll tell the grandkids someday.
that's honestly one of my biggest regrets, is never seeing Norm Duke bowl for a title.
It was sick. And as he's gotten older, he's got really good at doing that trick where he gets the ball to roll in like the first 15 feet of the lane, and that's what he did that day. He was literally taking the entire lane out of play by getting it to roll at his toe, and just directing it towards the pocket. It was super good. And Brad threw the ball great that week too. I mean, he was in position to win a title, and Norm just took it away. It was awesome.
Typical Norm.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Cameron, I don't know all these guys because I'm not around the MSBS enough. I get stuck running a bowling center instead of bowling in a bowling center. So, if you know who these guys are.
The guy in the light blue is about the only guy I don't know. I believe his name is Brandon. Brandon Craner. He's from Davison, Michigan. Wow. The echo really makes it sound like I'm mumbling, but
It does.
I don't think I am. Anyways, the guy in the Salty Dog Cafe. His name is Brandon Craner, and he is from Davison, Michigan, which is kind of a suburb of Detroit, suburb of Flint. We're getting updates as I speak by Brian.
Yeah,
I don't particularly know him, but
Yeah, and I don't know any of these guys, so it's kind of crazy. I mean, I know Marcus and Justin obviously because I've been around them enough and watch them bowl. Obviously, Marcus bowled at Indiana Tech, which I have
Yeah.
some connection to. I'm really super good friends with both of the coaches there, and got to watch Marcus kind of come up through the ranks, I guess. Throws it phenomenal. I mean, all these guys throw it pretty good. Regan gets a pretty decent crowd for his tournaments, and these kids, some of these kids that are coming out are killers, man. That's why I don't want to bowl. I'm too old, and I got way too, I don't want to say easy of a job, but it's much easier running a bowling center and just being the best person running a bowling center than it is to be the best bowler in a bowling
Yeah.
center 90% of the time.
Oh,
So.
I will 100% admit to that. For those of you that don't know, I used to work at a bowling center when I was 17, 18, and I was running the front counter, running the pin setter stuff, behind everything, and then that bowling alley closed down right before COVID, and that's really when I started bowling the MSBS stuff really hard.
Well, yeah, you started coming down here getting lessons from Andy, too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%. Which, if you guys are in the mid-Michigan area, I will 100% recommend Andy Schnabel as Jack 60, because he is by far the best coach in the Midwest, no questions asked.
Well, we're watching one of his products bowl right now. Justin Knowles comes down and sees Andy about once a month during the season, especially when he's bowling all the PBA stops. He comes down for a tune-up every now and again.
And if I'm being honest, it's just the technology that Andy has. Like, Andy is obviously very, very smart, but seeing yourself on camera will tell you a lot of what you need to do before he even says anything. Like, you can see it on here, and then you're like, all right, I can see what I'm doing wrong, but I don't know how to fix it. And that's when he comes in. And he's like, yeah, you just modify your starting position, and then you modify what you're looking at very slightly, and then all of your game folds together.
Yeah, the strike seeker down there is probably second to none when it comes to coaching tools, because it allows instant feedback on what you're doing wrong, and it's so much easier, especially when Andy slows it down, to pick up what he's trying to explain to you. And I mean, there's some hidden gems that Andy will give you. I mean, he does great work with physical game, but there's a lot of people that come in just to learn lane play strategy, or try to learn to read ball motion better, see different things. When Junior Gold comes around, he is non-stop busy. You might think he's busy during the season, which he is, but those couple of weeks before Junior Gold, I think he was on the lanes more than he was in the pro shop. And he's got great backup in there. Corey Hines does a fantastic job. He's a good ball driller, knows his stuff real well, been doing it for a lot of years too. And you know, it's awesome to be managing a center like this that has so much talent in it, not only on the lanes but in the shop, and the knowledge in this building is sick. I honestly, when I need a 15-minute break, I go sit in the pro shop and have a conversation with Andy, and I learn something while I'm on break. I learn something that I didn't know before, or I reinstitute something that I forgot. You know, such as we talked about, he went down to a Kegel class and he came back talking about different hand positions and fingers, and that blew my mind. And then I tried it and I was like, oh, I used to do this for fun as a kid, just to see if I could make the ball do something different, and now I know how to apply it. And it's pretty cool. It's awesome. I'm really blessed for the opportunities that Jack 60 has afforded me, and you know, I couldn't be happier with the career. You know, David takes really good care of us, and we're in the middle of this giant remodel that's absolutely stupid crazy. It's taken up most of my summer, and it's looking really, really good. I can't wait for the rest of the season to get here and get going.
Oh, absolutely. Which I was going to bring that up myself. Last time I was here, you guys had I don't even know what you want to call it. Like, to me, it was like a retaining wall where you separate the settee area away from the lane area. So all of the bowlers had to be down at like a table and a half per lane, and then everybody else had to sit up 3 steps back,
Yeah.
probably 20 feet away from the start of the approach.
So what we did was we took out that wall that separated the bowlers area from the concourse, and we actually took the wall that was behind everybody and moved it back 6 feet. So we widened the concourse, and then we lifted the bowlers area up. So now it's basically a straight shot and then a little ramp into the approach, to basically give us a more open concept and a little more room to move around.
Yeah.
Once the tables get up here on the concourse, it's not going to be as tight as it was before, but we are going to lose some of the room we gained by moving that wall. But it's all to give all the bowlers more room You know, we host a lot of tournaments, and we do high school state, high school regionals. We host the MSBS, we host the PBA, we host a number of different events for the local association and local tournaments. But one thing people don't realize is that Jackson has a lot of people that like to bowl in it. It's a bowling town, and our open play is just as busy as any league that I have, and it's really kind of cool. So we also just put in a new arcade. We took the old Little Caesars area that was down on the lanes behind 5 and 6. It used to be a Little Caesars restaurant. We turned that into a arcade with about 58 games in it, and a new redemption store, which is really kind of neat. So if you're not into the bowling thing and you want to bring the kids out, that's the place to go. And we just opened up the bar and made it even more of an open concept, which is kind of crazy.
Absolutely.
It's going to be super nice, but
which I will admit that I am not from the Jackson area, but it's worth the drive to Jackson. So if you guys are from the Lansing area and you want to see something different, or Flint, or even Grand Rapids, make the drive over to Jack 60 and come check this place out. It is definitely worth the drive.
I appreciate that. Brian always wants to host events here, and it's really difficult, especially with how busy our weekends get. It's just so hard. I'm starting to book. I've already got my calendar set up, and I'm looking at my calendar from December to March going, I don't have weekends. Like, I have tournaments and high school things, and I'm just trying to fit everybody in, and it's super, super difficult to get things like this in, especially with how busy we do get on a league night. Even to host a weekday sweeper is tough, just because I don't have lanes available.
Well, I would like to take my opportunity to speak for me and Brian, and thank you for allowing us the time to come in here.
Well, he's super lucky, because normally I'm not here this late on a Tuesday night, and my wife's going to probably be calling me here in the next 15 or 20 minutes to find out where the heck I am and what I'm doing. But it'll be all right. She knows I'm working, and she knows Brian's hosting this event, so we'll make it work. But yeah, no, and I absolutely love bowling, and we've got some great bowling going on in front of us. Justin Knowles can punch for 260s.
Adam D.
Adam D.
Adam D up on the right lane.
I'm not announcing that. Adam D can go out for 240s.
That looks pretty good. Labor's just
Marcus
a touch.
can get the 2-0s. And then the Salty Dog Cafe guy, Brandon, he can get to 190s, it looks like. 180s. 212. My math is not helping me right now.
For those of you thinking to yourself, what was Josh talking about right there? Justin Knowles came up and said he was throwing the OG Tropical Surge. Or was that the Tropical Storm? Yeah. Oh, wow. He's throwing the OG Tropical Storm. It's even older than the Tropical Surge.
That ball might be older than you.
No, that's actually what I started bowling with, but...
Close enough.
Yeah, it's not quite older than me, but it's definitely there.
Close enough. Marcus with another open. That's 3 in a row for him. He's going to have some work to back to where he needs to be if he wants to be able to take home this Rolloff title. Also, big shout out to Brian's sponsor, Columbia 300, helping him out. For those that don't know at home, I'm actually on staff with Ebonite, so Columbia is one of our 7 brands that we're allowed to throw. Mr. Motive over here is a little salty about that, but
not really. You're getting paid. I'm not.
I don't get paid.
Yeah, but you get free balls.
Some.
You get staff pricing balls.
I do have some privileges that come along with my position, and I am grateful for all of it. They do a very good job. And the stuff that's getting ready to come out, super sick. I can't talk about it, but we did just get an email today. There's going to be some exciting announcements. One of them I know did post to YouTube already. I don't know if it was too early or not, but it's an oldie but a goodie. And it looked real good out of Wadka's hand today. So, Justin Knowles with the big open there. It's a whole new ball game now.
Is it, though?
I mean, it kind of could be. He can go 220s. Adam D get to 230s now. Marcus is still going to need some help, and so is Brandon. But we still got 2 more games after this, so We'll see what happens.
Brian.
And of course,
You have a
Justin
sheet?
being over 30 now is feeling it.
Where they qualified? Okay.
Get up.
Good enough. So before the second game of the cut, Justin Knowles was in first by about 19 pins. Adam D was in second at 10:41. Marcus McLean was in third at that point at 10:31. And then we have Brandon Kreiner at 1,000 even. But
So
obviously we had a full other game after that.
Justin's leading by almost 100 now.
Oh,
After
wow.
the second game of the second game. The second set, I should say.
Yeah, so
Marcus-
coming into this
yeah.
finals live stream,
So it was
Justin's leading by 100.
13:04 with Justin. Marcus was at 12:31, and the other two were at 11:99.
Tied.
So, yeah, so Justin is looking in pretty good position right now. And as I said before, the lefties do like this house.
Yeah, and Justin is bowling Brandon because the matches actually cross on the screen. So A is bowling B, double B is bowling double A, and it should be that way all the way through. Justin Knowles has choice on starting lane for every game. So by the looks of this, actually not even by the looks of it, he already has it locked up for this game. So he's going to get 30 bonus pins for game one right off the bat. And Marcus McLean?
Is
No,
Marcus
actually,
is Marcus is not going to get the bonus pins.
correct.
Those are going to go to Adam D for this game. It's
Right.
okay. Marcus will be fine. He has an eagle and a national title with Indiana Tech, so he'll be fine.
Hold up. Does Marcus really have an eagle? Like a
Yeah.
Nationals eagle?
He has a Nationals eagle. He won doubles in 2018.
Was he like 15?
No, he was 18. It was right before he started college at Indiana Tech. 100%.
I am not allowed to say what I'm thinking on the live stream right now.
That kid's good.
I knew he was good, but like an eagle good?
Yeah, like an eagle
I don't
good.
know. Justin doesn't have an eagle.
No, Justin almost got one, but
Yes.
Brian Wallachek kind of put up a number early on this
Wow.
year that was, I don't want to say unreachable because Justin got close, but it was pretty stout.
The crazy thing is, I was out there when Brian posted that number. And I didn't even know what to do because he bowled doubles and singles before we did. And I was watching him as he was bowling. And I was like, all right, I've seen Brian bowl enough times. He bowls MSBS stuff. I can do what he's doing. Doubles and singles, I whacked him. Team event, I shot like 550. So,
It was actually super cool watching team event. I was out there when Andrew Anderson and Snodgrass's teams were out there, and if you guys don't know, Frank Snodgrass's team ended up they were in third after that day. They dropped to fifth ultimately, but I got to see Andrew shoot 300 the third game at team, and I will tell you that in South Point there was everybody on their side watching and about 10 people on the other side watching the other team's bowl. It was kind of cool. And then I had to go bowl at 6 o'clock that night, so, which was kind of actually neat because those guys came down and watched us bowl. Yes, it did bounce out.
so Adam D had 191 there,
Yes, 191.
which on the live stream you can't see the score, but he is going through to change it himself.
Yeah.
Justin Knowles had 228. We have Brandon Kreiner at 177 and Marcus McLean at 146. Which I don't know if Josh went over this, but I believe this pair should be a fresh pair for for the finals. Which I'm not really sure how this should break down for
Yeah,
the right-hander.
This was fresh, so it should break down very similar to what they started on.
Yeah, but as you know, Josh, after you're 6 games in, you're already like 30 boards left of where you started. And it's really hard to go from playing super far left to playing as far right as you started.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely, and I think that's why Marcus made that ball changes. He wanted to see something. I think he saw something different that he thought he could try from what he started with in qualifying. He
Yeah.
said he started with that Paragon hybrid in qualifying, and it looked really, really good. Bigger core, weaker shell, got down lane, made a quick motion, and he went to a cleaner cover. Still a pretty decent core. That Vibe core is phenomenal, but I just think it's maybe a little too quick down lane, so he's getting some over-under.
So Justin Knowles starts with a strike, and Adam D is up on the left lane. Both Justin and Adam got the bonus spins for game one. Little right from Adam. This is the head pin right, leaving the 1-2.
See if Marcus can bounce back after that first game.
I still feel like he could move his feet a touch right. Yeah,
Stone 4.
I mean, that
He's in
wasn't the
looks like
worst
he's
shot.
in the right zone, too. I don't know that that's a bad play for him, especially with how up the back he can get. Like I said, he gets that hook stop motion going. He does that a lot, especially watching him bowl in college. He likes to live in that pocket, getting the ball going forward, which is going to, get you a higher carry percentage, especially with his rev rate's not the highest in the world, but it's high enough that he can throw some pins around if he needs to. Keeping the ball rolling forward is going to keep pins lower to the ground, so when they do fly, you're not going to get that up and over action.
I don't know that I 100% agree with you. I feel like he could move a touch right.
Oh, he absolutely could.
I mean,
Still get
obviously
that
he
stop
4-pinned,
motion.
but like if he paralleled or like 3 and 2'd right, just to get a touch farther away from that head pin.
Yeah, the ball needs to get farther right of that head pin. It's just picking up in the wrong part of the lane right now.
Yeah. And in my opinion, I don't know if that clean of a ball is worth it right now.
I don't think so. I would go back to the Paragon hybrid if I was him, but of course we're not out there bowling. And
Well, touche.
we don't see what he's seeing, and we also don't know what he's feeling physically. There might be he might be playing to his swing. You got to bowl with the swing you got that day, and if his swing's telling him that 5's the best look he's got, I can't sit back here and argue with him.
Absolutely.
I think Justin just picked up his attitude control, which is a really cool option now that we have in the Brunswick lines. Urethane cover, but it's got a higher diff, higher RG core, so it still flares, which is kind of nice.
Which, as much crap as I want to talk about it being a motive guy, I'm sorry, but there are no motive balls on that rack right now. Kind of messed that up in the match play round.
Yep.
So, as good as motive products are, we did not make it to the championship here.
Everybody makes great equipment. I'll be the first one to admit that. They all have their place at all times. It's really kind of bowler specific to what you match up with the best at the right times. I know there's a lot of guys we see on tour that bounce from company to company and throw different stuff, and that there's a lot that plays into that. Those guys are out there making a living. They got to do what they think's best for them. But I'll never say that a ball company makes bad equipment. It just might not match up for you. I'm good friends with EJ and Zach, and I threw motive stuff when I lived in Indiana. And what I just found out that it just didn't match up to my ball roll and the shapes I like to see. And that's just me. There's guys out there that like storm stuff. We know down lane is a little quicker than most. I don't think anybody's making bad equipment. I just think it's in what environment does it work the best. There's certain houses that I sometimes wish, I had different equipment. But that doesn't mean that I'm not going to throw the stuff that I have, because you can always, especially with the tricks of your hand and things like that, always get the equipment that you have to roll right. And that's center specific and day specific. That's not like if I go over and bowl at Thunderbolt, I wish I had X company's ball. No, that's not what I mean. I mean, that there's certain days that, my ball roll's not matching up to the environment I'm in, and it's like, man, I know what would match up.
Oh yeah.
And like I said, it all comes down to personal preference too. I'm brand loyal. I have been for over a decade now, and I've been taken very well care of for that. But nonetheless, I feel like if you want to be brand loyal to something and you want to really dig in, more power to you. I think it also allows you to learn more about your game rather than seeing different shapes from different companies all the time and trying to fit an arsenal into maybe some shortcomings you have in your game. So be cognizant of that when you walk into a pro shop and go picking out a new ball for the next season or picking out a ball for a specific pattern. We want to make sure we're putting you in the right piece of equipment at the right time so that you're getting the most out of it.
Absolutely.
But I'm always going to recommend one of my brands first just because, that's what I do.
Just like I'm always going to recommend Motive first. I mean,
that's right. It's just the way it goes. And it has nothing to do with one being better than the other. It's just our personal preferences. And obviously we're going to know our equipment better than we know somebody else's equipment. Like I've seen Motive stuff go down the lane. I think some of it makes great motion, but I don't know enough about it to even really sell one to somebody just because that's not what I'm doing.
Which, that's the same concept I have. If I'm standing in my local pro shop, which for those of you that don't know, I work out of Mr. K's pro shop. I don't actually work there, but David's taken care of me since I was 13, 14 years old. So that's my home, I guess, if you want to call it that. I made the switch when Hammer ended up going to Mexico, actually, because I used to be very strongly Hammer, and then when they went to Mexico, I decided that I wanted something that was made in the USA, whether it was Storm at the time or Motive at the time, whatever it is. I wanted something in my life made in America, which that's not knocking Hammer for going to Mexico. I understand it's way cheaper for production stuff, but I went to the Motive demo day and I had never seen the shapes that I saw at that time from any bowling ball that I had ever thrown. And granted, at that time I had 4, maybe 5 bowling balls total. The same day I bought 7 Motive bowling balls. So when I made the switch, it was an abrupt stop and I jumped ship to what I thought was going to allow me to win.
And that's the key. It's got to be what's going to allow you to win.
Yeah, the moral of the story is whatever matches your game the best on average standpoints, because you can't look at it day by day, but whatever fits your game totally the best, that's where you need to be. Whether it's Motive, whether it's Hammer, any of the Brunswick line really, but Hammer, Brunswick, Storm, any of them. They all make good products. It's not like they're out there trying to cut people short on what they deserve. Everybody's making good balls. It just matches up with everybody differently. Which so far there has only been one time that I wish I was throwing a different product. And I went and had a lesson with J.R. Raymond at Woodland Lanes before they switched surfaces, lane surfaces. I could not get a single Motive ball to hook down lane. Everything was hooking either before the arrows or between the arrows and the markers. But I could not get anything to hook down lane at all. Which really brought into my mind, how does he make any of the Motive products look good when he does the ball reviews there?
That's something you might have to ask JR. I couldn't tell you. I'm so lucky to have this new surface that we put in 2019 that, when I throw equipment, I see a really super true reaction, and I get to be able to let people know what it does, especially from what the way I like to drill. I have a couple of what I call stock drillings, and I have a third that I kind of like for specifics, especially specific balls with specific specs, meaning certain RGs and differentials. I like a specific drilling versus another, but I only have about 3 drillings that I keep in my bag at all times. One up, one down, and then a couple of tweaks and tricks here and there for specific patterns and specific equipment. But that was one heck of a strike. That was a boomer. Took the 7 out from the side, set the 4 up and around it and off the sidewall. It's pretty sick.
I honestly thought he upper decker 7-pinned right there.
Oh, Justin didn't carry one for once. There's puppies at home crying right now. Justin Knowles didn't carry. I have a funny joke. The year that Justin did win the Masters, he was bowling the Alro. I was not bowling. I injured myself at home doing some work at the house, and my back just didn't feel right, and I wasn't going to chance it. But he's bowling on Sunday, and I just kept walking up to him. He's shooting 240, 250, 240, 250, winning all his matches. I was like, bro, why don't you suck less? And literally every time I'd say that, he'd shoot a higher number. So finally he pops off 12 in a row, and I'm like, oh, okay, that's good. Yeah, he worked up to it.
Carry it.
My favorite Justin Knowles story is the Masters 3 years ago. We were bowling, and I actually made the step ladder. I qualified third, and Justin qualified fourth, and he wins his match, and then I get up to bowl him, and I had been throwing a result solid, this super big ball, and I would just flat-handed it off the ditch, and I had a super great look, but we got to this pair that had been bowled on a bunch already, and the fronts just hooked a ton, and I had a chance going into the 8th or 9th frame, and I tried something, and I literally lofted it to the arrows, and I flushed it, but I stoned a 7, and Knowles was like, that was the coolest trick I've ever seen, up in the air. He's like, because I had no idea how you were getting it through the fronts, because every time I went left, the ball would read and quit, or it would go through the face. And I tried balling down once, and that was no bueno because it was just too clean through the front and too quick down lane. So I was giving myself over under anyway. And yeah, it was pretty cool. He was like, yeah, that was a pretty neat little trick, man. He's like, I thought you had me when you threw that one. Yeah, no, I didn't. But that's also the year that Justin beat me, and then I think he ended up winning the next match, but he did lose to our very own Corey Hines that year in the finals of the Masters, which was a year after Nick Cooper made Corey's son cry by beating him in the final of the Masters. So Nick Cooper, if you're out there listening and watching, I haven't forgotten, neither is Corey's son. So Marcus McLean throwing pins around that 710 pissed him off. He's ready to go. Or maybe he's just ready to go home. I don't know. But
I'm going to go with all of the above.
Probably all of the above. I think Mr. Knowles here is kind of going to walk away with this one, I think. I don't want to call it too soon. We still got about a game and a half left. But, you know, he's making makeable spares, and I think he's kind of taking his foot off the gas a little bit. But like I said before, he did just turn 30 a little while ago. He's starting to feel that age kick in. Most people think that you get over the hill when you hit 40. I'm going to tell you right now, it starts when you hit 30. Things start breaking down. You got to get new parts. Got to go in for an oil change every 3 months. You know.
I don't know. Adam D is giving him a run for his money here.
Adam D's putting up some numbers right now. I mean, Justin was about 140 ahead of him going into the previous match. Right now, he's got him by about 142 right now. So
it's going to take a real big number here.
It's going to take a good effort out of Adam D. But he's making it look easy right now. Look, we got 3 righties on the pair. The odds are in our favor, but it is Justin Knowles out there. It was funny. So he shoots that number to get into second place in all events. And my wife and I were at the mall doing some last-minute shopping before we went out to Vegas, and he was going to be there the last day. And I walked into Buckle, and there's this hat with a picture of a goat on it. G period, O period, A period, T period. And I was like, oh, my God. I just looked at her. She's like, you're buying that for Justin, aren't you? Yes, I am. And I walked into South Point. The first thing I did was find him up in the BJ Center and gave him to a Bowler's Journal Center. Bowler's Journal. And gave him his hat. So.
All right, if we're being honest, 99% of the people watching the stream understand when you say BJ, you mean the Bowler's Journal.
Look,
I appreciate the clarification there.
I want to clarify, we were talking about Justin.
Hey, hey. Maybe Jackie's watching the stream. I'm still gonna say that she watches, or she knows that it's the BJ.
Mrs. Goat's watching? Mrs. Goat, how are you? We miss you at Jack 60. Little Goat's probably in bed though, right? He should be asleep. He should be asleep. Jackie's one of those unsung heroes too. Just like my wife, she is a teacher. They teach the little ones. So hats off to all the teachers going back to school right now. You guys got the tough job. Marcus kind of has a tough job right now too, but he's working at it.
I think he's about at the point where he's just phoning in that job.
I do. I think he's.
He wants to win, but that deficit is awfully deep. Kind of how I felt after game 1.
Yeah, Brandon says, I'm coming for you. Marcus McLean, who?
Yeah, Marcus has beat me enough times to know that he's one of the
Adam,
best
you
in
need
the
that one.
area.
All right. Well,
I don't know if
There
you guys
is
heard
the-
that or not,
there
but
is
there
the-
was the door creaking open
yeah,
right there.
there is the chance for a tie now between Justin and Adam. I was just getting ready to say, I don't know if Justin's going to strike on the left lane throwing that ball. It just looks like it's a little too much down lane for him. Justin's one of those few lefties that really does like to see it read in the front part of the lane and control the back end. Which is why you see him throwing urethane all the time. A lot of the reactive stuff's just way, way too quick for him. Adam D locks it up with that spare right there. He's into the 220s now. Justin can only get to 194.
I remember last week at Royal Scott, I was commentating that finals, and Justin was talking shit because I said something about him throwing urethane all the time. He was throwing a proton physics on, it was like 45, 44 feet, and I was like, dude, it's long. How are you throwing anything other than reactive? Well, I started with a purple hammer. Dude, I wish I could have started with a purple hammer. As he goes and grabs a proton physics.
He's going to try to create all that hook in the front with that cover and just get it to bleed off and let the core do the rest. 225 for Adam D, which will lock up the win on Justin. So he's going to pick up 29 sticks plus the 30, so 59 sticks on that 140 pin deficit. She's 142. 60 sticks now. 90 pins difference now between those two. 80 pins, sorry. Brian Regan's updating us as we go. He's our lovely score person right now, making sure all the scores are updated for those folks at home so they can follow along online. Yeah, one more game for all the marbles. I'm going to wager to guess if Justin shoots 200, he's pretty much in. He's pretty much in if he shoots 200.
I'm willing to bet that if he shoots anything over 140, he's pretty much in. Scores on this pattern have been tough.
Well, I mean, the top four was -1, so that's pretty
Yeah, minus
pretty
one
crazy.
after 6.
after 6 games.
Shoot, I made the cut. Someone there in the ballpark of like minus 50. Minus 56 after 4? No. Yeah, minus 57 after 4. And I was in 9th out of the 10 people that made the cut. The cut was minus 62 after 4 games to make this cut.
This pattern plays tough.
So now we have the final match of the round robin. We have Justin Knowles bowling Marcus McLean and Adam D bowling Brandon Kreiner. Justin is A, Marcus is B. The other two have not decided what lanes they're on yet. Adam D is double B and Brandon Kreiner is double A.
Wow.
So Justin can slap the 7-pin out, even with reactive.
I'm surprised nobody's flagged the MSBS page for being a spam account or a scammer for all the pictures he posted of the same guy winning every time. Justin Knowles is always on that Facebook photo. Yeah.
Hey guys.
Justin, you got to see me tonight. That's what you're getting. It is. It really is. I mean, for you at least. Yeah.
Thanks, bro. Not that crossing with me is anything special, but... Alright, so if we're being honest, today is like the second or third time that I've crossed with Justin in the 2.5 years that I've been bowling MSBS stuff. And Justin bowls everything. And I've only crossed with him 2, maybe 3 times.
Justin is also a forever optimist. He's that guy on the pair that's always like, "No, dude, you guys got this. Come on, man." Even though you're 140 under after 2 games and there's no chance in the world for you to make a cut, he's like, no, dude, you got this. You're going to do it. Wow, big whiff there. Surprised you didn't throw the straight ball at it.
Actually, I do have a story about Justin with the positive mindset kind of guy that he is. So I was bowling an event with him, and I honestly don't even remember where it was. Somewhere on the east side of the state. But that was the first time that I had actually crossed with him. And I was like 150 out of the cut. But the last game I got so pissed off that I shot 254. And Justin had 270 possible. And I was like, bro, I'm out of the cut. Just throw the 10th. Let me win at least the jackpot. Get some of my money back. We're good. So he leaves a 3-pin and misses it on purpose. And I was like, dude, thank you. Thank you. I made a little bit of money back. Thank you. And I'm walking back and forth across the center. Not seeing anything that beat my 254. And we're good. I get down to lane 1 and 2. Somebody shot 257 and 265 on 1 and 2. So I didn't win it. He didn't win it. And nobody made any money on the last game when he had 270 possible. I have never asked him to do anything like that ever again.
Adam D's mad. He's throwing 8 pins around now. Just tickling the head pin, just enough. Yeah. Marcus went back to that Paragon hybrid. He's getting ready to give him the business this game.
It's got to go. Just a touch left off his hand. That crossed
he's been doing that a little bit. One thing I've seen Marcus doing on this pattern is if he gets it right, the ball doesn't finish. It doesn't have enough energy left to get back to the pocket. So I think subconsciously there's a little bit of where he's kind of closing down his shoulder so he doesn't project it as far right as he has been on certain shots. So that could play a little bit into it. He's pretty good about keeping his angles square to his target, but right now it just looks like a little bit of a shoulder close.
As you see, a 3.679 from Justin. Right-hander's 2.4810.
He's gonna
close.
cover it, or not. Made me a liar on the stream, dude. Look good off your hand. That's why I called it, man. But it's kind of cool being able to commentate and talk to the guys as they're bowling. Normally, when I'm in a booth, the guys can't even hear us talk. We're so far away. And so I also know that's a bad idea because I remember a couple years ago at the 10K, they let Justin Knowles have the headset. And that didn't end up very well for Todd McGill at the 10K. I love it, man. There's a lot of, that's the cool part about being in Michigan for me, is there's a lot of really energetic people that, I guess I don't want to say energetic, because if you've met Brian Regan, he doesn't do much with energy, but there's a lot of people that have a passion for our sport and are trying to help grow it, even in our little neck of the country. Just, doing things to help things out. I mean, you've always had guys like Craig Elliott up here, who I got to spend some time with at Nationals and last week while the PBA was here, and super, super nice people that just have a passion for the sport and want to give it what it deserves. And hats off to those guys. Brian Regan's setup's pretty legit. So, I mean, I wish them all the best of luck with this. I hope it continues. Next year we can do this again. Maybe another time this year. I don't know. We'll see.
Which, if I'm being honest, the Midwest regional area, or to me the Midwest in general, probably has some of the best amateur bowling around.
It does.
You can go anywhere else in the USA and you're not going to get the level of competition that the Midwest provides.
No, so Michigan has more sanctioned bowlers than any state in the country. We have for a very long time. I know there's a lot of awesome bowlers in Ohio and Kentucky and Indiana and Illinois, and if you look at a regional that's in the off-peak season, so like this time of year when you're bowling regionals, that's why they have all those big super regionals.
Yeah.
You look at a regional roster for this area, and it looks like a national event.
Absolutely.
So many big names come up to bowl, and it's super, super cool. And we've had a couple of first-time winners here. We had one first-time winner here, Kyle Mayberry's won one here. I got to give a title to Graham Faw, who's got a national title. And then last year, Zach Tackett, my very good friend, won his second regional title here, which was super, super cool. So it's this area of the country, man. It just breeds bowling. But there's a lot of bowlers in other parts of the country too, just not as condensed. It's not as densely populated with bowling centers anymore. Bowling. I won't say bowling's not a dying sport. I don't like that term. Bowling is transitioning. There is still a ton of competitive bowling, but there's a gap between super competitive and recreational that we need to figure out how to bridge someday. If we want to grow the sport back to the numbers that it was in the early to late 80s, early 90s, where we had 2 million members for the USBC or whatever governing body there may be in the future.
Yeah.
I'm not going to speak on such things, but
that's kind of what I was thinking.
But there are a lot of things going on in the bowling world right now, and most of those are out of our control. I'm just going to follow the path that's in front of me. So
that's the way I look at it. As long as I keep getting to do what I love and try to make money at it, that's all I really care
about. That's all I
about.
want to do is bowl. And for me, that's pretty simple. I live 4 minutes from here, and I have a key, so it's kind of convenient, even though I don't bowl ever.
Yeah, I'm like an hour and 20 minutes from here.
Well, and you don't have a key.
Yeah, but I got a key to a building you don't have a key to.
That's probably
Not
true.
that you want to go there, but
No, I'm okay.
I wouldn't recommend it.
Whoa, buddy.
I wish I had a Never mind. I swore on the last stream we're going to leave that comment off of this stream. Adam D covers the 10 pin there.
Adam D. So we're halfway through the last game, and simple, quick math. If Knowles stays behind the foul line,
Yeah, pretty
and
much.
Adam doesn't strike out, I think Knowles wins. I'm pretty sure that's how that works.
I'm pretty sure even if Adam does strike out, if Knowles stays behind the foul line, that's pretty much all she wrote. That's pretty much game winner. Oh, wow, that did it.
Of course, he goes up and just, shoves
Yeah.
one in the pocket and just 10 back. That's what he does, Justin Knowles. This would be This would have been way more fun. And Brian, thank you for the opportunity to sit in on the live stream and commentate. I really have enjoyed myself. Cam, you've been awesome. But I'm going to tell you right now, guys, I get super bored watching Justin strike all the time. Like,
For some reason, I don't.
yeah, well, that's because you get to cash the checks at the end. I don't. If I get to cash your checks,
I won't be able to without fine managers like you.
well, I try to help you out every once in a while.
For those of you that couldn't hear, Justin said, surprisingly, I don't get bored of striking all the time.
You don't get bored striking all the time. He doesn't. Justin's the kind of guy that will message me at 10 a.m. and say he's going to be here at noon to practice, and then at 1 says, oh, by the way, thanks for putting that pattern out for me, but I can't make it.
It only happened like 3 times in 2 weeks.
But we all know Justin does have a life outside of bowling. He has a family. He's got a kid to take care of. He's got a wife to take care of, so things come up. For me, it's really not that big of a deal.
I appreciate when I do come and put it out.
Yeah, take care of him. I took care of him and his Lucy partner before the PWBA PBA tournament they had down in Texas. Benefits breast cancer awareness. Him and his partner, Brianna Andrew, came out and did some practicing, 2 lefties, which was crazy that Justin would want to bowl with a lefty. Which is funny, but I have a list of 5 lefties that I will bowl with. I grew up in a town where there weren't a lot of them, so I started a list of 5 that I would ever bowl with, just in case one of them would get injured, so I could have 4 lefties and me on a team. And I keep that list going, and I update it yearly, and Justin just so happens to be on that list of 5 lefties. Surprisingly, Parker Bone III is not on that list, probably because most likely he lives all the way in New Jersey and wouldn't be able to bowl with me, but that being said, you know.
That's a valid reason to not have him on the list.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the only reason. Parker's a super nice guy, and I mean, I would bowl if he ever asked me, but, you know, I can't put him on a list that isn't feasible.
Well, it's only feasible if you, it's only not feasible if you don't ask.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
He might show up, you never know.
There's always, just like Justin Knowles, there's always a chance, man. There's always a chance. There's a chance that Justin won't strike again. There's a chance that Adam will. Thank you, Adam, for making me correct. He's a good friend, Justin. I want you to take notes.
Good stroke. It would help if my left shot goes high, so I go 1 and 1 right, and it hooks more.
Well, you've been having trouble with the left lane to begin with, so Justin and I are talking about his lane play strategy, which apparently is not good on the left lane. He's thrown 3 different balls over there, and none of them are striking right now. So hopefully he can just bowl on the right lane for the rest of the match. I don't know if that's a thing that we can do, but if he can, he might have a chance.
Well, he's only got 1 more shot up on the left lane.
Yeah, so then we'll get this shindig over with, and you know, Brian can take his little photo of Justin again and do the thing. I'm surprised he doesn't just reuse the same photo over and over again, to be honest. Like, I would just have 1 stock photo of Justin.
Well, the struggle is the second place guy.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right.
The second place guy rotates all the time, but
does.
Justin is always
It
up
does.
there.
Yeah, it does. Brian could save battery life on his phone if he just went to posting winners. He could just have that stock photo of Justin and make it happen.
Like, you could post a picture of Justin and Marcus right now, and nobody would know the difference.
Probably true.
The only problem is Adam is probably going to finish second.
Probably. It's looking like it could be a possibility. Oh, cross it over. Rolls the 9 backwards. 6-pin did its job.
I don't know. From my point of view, that looks like a strike. We'll call it.
That's because you're
that's
sitting
a
in front
great
of the
shot.
box, and the box is blocking the lane.
Yeah, and then Justin and Marcus were both standing there, so I
Yeah.
just looked up and they were all falling over. That was.
Next renovation, we'll put stadium seating in so that we can do this from up in the ceiling and not be able to see anything.
I was gonna say. For those of you that have never been here, I would call it maybe 12-foot tall ceilings.
They are 12-foot ceilings all throughout the building except for over the lanes. They vary.
In other words, stadium seating would not work in here.
No, not even close. It's not a real thing. That's actually not something that's going to happen.
I feel like we could totally make it work though.
I mean,
At least for the first 3 or 4 rows.
maybe. But, yeah, I don't have enough room towards the back because if we move those walls back any farther, I got to move my parking lot. And there's a road, and if people don't know, this used to be airport lanes. There is literally an airport across the street. They might have issues with me trying to take over part of that road.
That's just a minor detail. They don't need the road.
Yeah.
It's only eastbound anyways. Everybody's coming west to come here. Like, why do you need to go east?
That's how I get home.
Well, that's how I'm going to get home too, but
I have to
like,
go east and then north.
east is that way, north is that way.
Yeah, I'm going that way. Nobody can see where our fingers are going, Cam. You just
Well-
gave it away.
Last Tuesday, he kept cutting to me in the booth.
Oh,
It was really weird because I was by myself, so I didn't know what to say, but I could see that he was cutting to me.
oh. I'm glad I gave you somebody to bounce things off of.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
Well,
I mean, that looked like a better shot for Marcus. Leaving just a 2-pin this
did.
time.
I still think that's the wrong piece. Maybe if it had a little surface on it.
Hey, Cam.
Looks like he's got a power torque pro in his hand now to shoot the spare.
Yes,
Hey,
Tom.
so yeah, last week I tried to put you picture in picture, and then my computer froze with you on
There's
full
just something wrong
screen.
with Tom censoring me.
And that's why it was a little awkward, because I like literally had the computer frozen on your shot, and I couldn't get away from it.
Well, that makes a little bit
Yeah,
more
that
sense.
was an accident. Hey, real quick,
For those of you that watched last week, Tom just told me, who is our basically overall producer, that his computer froze with me in the booth as the screen that he chose.
yes,
So he did not mean to leave me as the screen. It just happened to be that way, and that's when I looked at the screen.
yes. Yeah, it was rough. Real quick, I got to
Coming down to the wire here, folks. Justin Knowles has all but sewn this up. Really no chance for anybody to catch him.
I had a guy in our chat ask
So,
about the pattern.
You know,
Can
there
you
you
talk
go.
about that a
Another
little?
Justin Knowles win.
So for those of you that were not here earlier, the pattern we're bowling on is 20, all right, never mind. Okay. The
It's
pattern is 37 feet, 21.5 mils-ish, but the brush drop was at like 27
The
feet.
brush drop was at 37 feet.
So the reverse brush drop was at 37
The
feet?
reverse brush dropped at 37 feet, and it buffed all the way back to 20 feet, which is where the reverse oil started.
Gotcha. So in reality, the reverse oil started at 27 feet, but still, there was only 2.1 mils of reverse oil on this pattern.
Yes.
So it was 37 feet, 21.5 total mils-ish, somewhere in there. And it really played pretty hard. Transition started pretty quick, and after that, it was just really who could get all 10 pins to fall over at the same time.
We are getting ready to sew this up, so I am going to say goodbye to the live stream and go get my stuff together so that when Regan's done loading out, we can shut this place down and I can be back here bright and early to keep trying to make this place better for everybody. That's still some construction going on, but please, if you guys are in the area, stop out, take a look. If you've been here when it was airport lanes, it is not the same bowling center at all. It's not even the same center it was 3 months ago. So take a chance, stop out, see what's going on, maybe throw a couple games. We'll have more events coming up here in the near future. We've got a mixed doubles event that is open to everybody in November. We've got our Jackson Masters that is open to anybody, which is in the end of January. So we've got a lot of things going on here that you guys in Michigan can come out and check out. Thanks everybody for listening. Thanks Cam for being with me. Thanks Regan for the opportunity to host the event and be in the booth. Thanks Justin for getting me ready for bed by making me sleepy watching him strike all night. And I'm out.
I would just like to take a minute to thank Josh Solomon, the GM of Jack 60, for taking time out of his day to come into the booth with me and help me commentate this very exciting match where Justin Knowles won, and I believe Adam D. What are the overall standings? Adam, all right. Ryan, what are the overall standings? Total, like, okay. So Justin took first, Brandon Craner took second, Adam D took third, and Marcus McLean was fourth. So for those of you that are still watching, it goes the farthest to the right, Skip won, then Brandon, and then Adam D is wearing the bowl.com shirt, and then Marcus McLean was the farthest to the left, right there that you can see on the screen. But I would just like to take a second. Jack 60, if you guys have not been here and you guys are in the mid-Michigan area, for sure take a minute to stop out. Right now they're in the middle of construction, pushing that back wall back like Josh was talking about. But they're redoing the whole bar. They just redid the whole arcade. Andy Schnabel is one of the best coaches in the Midwest. Who? Oh. And if you guys are even close to the area, stop out. It's worth your drive. It's worth the time. That's about all we can say about this place. Thanks to Jack 60, which is a David Small owned facility, and Josh Solomon for hosting us out here today. If you guys forgot, make sure you like the MSBS or SBS, depending on how Brian has it set up, either Midwest Bowling Series or Scratch Bowling Series on Facebook, and then make sure that you subscribe to the Scratch Bowling Series on YouTube. That is where inevitably we will be live streaming all of these events, and that is where you can make sure that you never miss another event. So subscribe to the Scratch Bowling Series and click the little bell icon. And if you guys like this stream and like Josh and I commentating this, make sure to hit the like button so that we know. That's the only way we're ever going to figure it out. That's the best way to let us know so we can figure it out faster. Anyways, thanks for watching, guys. Have a good one. And as always, may the carry be in your favor.